Headlights age in dog years. Over the years, they get foggy, and it gets to a point where you either need to buy a new headlight, which can be really expensive, or you restore them using chemicals or sand or polishing. Today in this video, we're going to be talking about our graphene ceramic headlight kits, specifically the Pro Kit. Now, the Pro Kit is designed for headlights that are far too gone to the point where you can't just wipe them with a chemical and make them look good again. In this video today, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process in how to restore these headlights using the Pro Graphene Ceramic Headlight Restoration Kit. First things first, what we're going to do is we're going to put a tape line across here so we can see a true 50-50. Woo! Perfect. All right, so what you do first is you're gonna open the bag, and there's a few components in the kit that we wanna separate out first. So there's gonna be a total of 6 wipes, gloves, oh yeah, and the sanding kit. And then, of course, there's gonna be the instructions. First things first, read the instructions thoroughly before you even start this process. This is gonna help make sure that you separate out your wipes and your sanding before you get into restoring these headlights. Now, as per the instructions, what you wanna do first is you wanna separate out your wipes. They are labeled per driver's side or passenger side. So, I will find the driver's side oxidation wipes, the passenger side oxidation wipes, and also the graphene wipes. I'm gonna put the driver's side graphene wipe with the driver's side oxidation wipe, and then the passenger side graphene wipe with the passenger side oxidation wipe. So now they're separated, okay? So it doesn't matter what side you start on, just make sure that you have the wipes separated, because what we don't wanna do is use extra oxidation wipes on one side. We want to make sure that each side has 2 oxidation wipes and 1 graphene wipe. First things first, before we open up these wipes, is we want to put on our gloves. Okay, the reason why we're going to put the gloves on is because this can be somewhat of a messy process. So we have the gloves on now. We're going to start with the passenger side headlight oxidation remover, wipe 1, okay? And again, this is all laid out in the instruction packet that comes in the kit and also states it on the wipe. So step 1, wipe 1. So we're gonna set these aside for now. I'm gonna open this up first, and these are pre-saturated wipes, so all you need to do is take this out, okay? We're gonna set this aside. Now, I'm not gonna unfold this. This is a folded wipe. You don't need to unfold this. You just leave this as is. And we're gonna go straight to wiping this. And you'll see it goes on kind of thick. And what we wanna do is thoroughly wipe the headlight as much as we can. And what this is gonna do, it's doing a chemical reaction, and it's removing the oxidation and mainly the color in which the headlight starts to turn yellow when it gets foggy. This is gonna remove a lot of that color, but also remove a lot of that oxidation on the headlight. Now, what I wanna show you is how much of the color this is removing, okay? That is removing the color of that oxidation, and that just proves we're taking off the oxidation from the headlight, and this is clearing up the headlight, removing the color, in which when we get to the graphene coating step, it will go on perfectly clear and look amazing, almost brand new, okay? So we're gonna continue to use this wipe. We're gonna keep going as much as we can. We wanna use this wipe in its entirety. Another thing I wanna mention is if you get this on the paint, it will not damage your paint. It's not gonna eat away at your paint, anything like that, but I like to have a towel nearby that I can wipe it off if I do get on there. It's just a messy thing. I don't want this to be a big messy process. So if you get it on the paint, just wipe it off. So you're gonna wanna stop when your wipe gets extremely saturated with that oxidation. As you can see here, the whole wipe is discolored. It's now time to move on to the second oxidation wipe. So I'm gonna take this, in the packaging it came out of, I'm gonna set this in here. Again, working clean, making sure we're not making a huge mess. So we'll put this in here. We'll throw this out eventually. Now, before I move on to the second wipe, what I wanna do is I'm gonna remove the oxidation remover off of the headlight first. So with a towel, you could use a waterless wash towel, but you wanna keep waterless wash, or you could even use water if you want. I tend to have waterless wash handy usually, so I'm gonna spray this on here and we're gonna remove the oxidation remover before we move on to wipe number 2. Okay, I mean, you can see already it's removing a lot of the color, the yellowing, the yellow oxidation color off of the headlight. So now we're gonna go into the passenger side headlight oxidation remover wipe number 2. Okay, again, this is all laid out in the instructions. Make sure you thoroughly read the instructions before you go into doing this process. It's just gonna give you a basis and an understanding of how the whole process will work before you start. So, opening wipe number 2 and keeping the packaging handy, we go in and we do the same exact thing as we did on step 1. We're just continuing to remove as much of the oxidation as possible. What I'm really trying to do is, if I feel like I missed areas from wipe 1, I'm trying to focus on those areas, but continue to wipe the entirety of the headlight. So as you can see, we're not pulling off as much of the oxidation, which is a good thing. One thing I want to mention is, if your wipe 2 pulls off a ton of color into the wipe, that doesn't mean you need to use an extra wipe to keep removing oxidation. You only want to use the 2 oxidation remover headlight wipes dedicated to that side. So dedicated to the passenger side, I'm only using the 2 oxidation remover wipes only. I'm not going to pull another oxidation wipe from the driver's side. I'm only doing the 2 that are dedicated to this side. Okay, so done using oxidation remover wipe number 2 for the passenger side. So I'm gonna set this again inside its original packaging, which we're gonna discard here later. Set that aside. So same thing, we're gonna take the waterless wash and we're gonna spray this down and remove the oxidation remover once again. Now, one thing I wanna talk about is there is textured oxidation on this headlight that if we go and we put the graphene ceramic coating on here, this texture will still always be here. That's why in the Pro Kit, there is these sanding components, and the sanding is gonna help smooth this headlight out. So when we put the graphene coating on, it is perfectly clear, making your headlight fully restored, looking great. Okay, we're gonna get into the sanding step now. But before you start breaking this out, make sure you go grab a bottle with a sprayer of some high quality H2O, or something we like to call here water. You're gonna need this for when you're sanding, so make sure you have that handy. These are labeled on the back as to what grit they are. So as you can see, the maroon color is 2000 grit and the gray color is 3000 grit. We're gonna start with the 2000 grit. So we'll set these other ones aside, and there's 2 of each sanding disc in there. So you're gonna install the 2000 grit sanding disc onto the handle here, and we're gonna go into sanding this. But first, what you wanna do is spray this with water in the headlight, and this is essentially doing a wet sanding process. Now, when you go to sand this, do not do circular motions. Go in linear motions. You can go up and down, but I like to go side to side, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna wet sand this using moderate pressure. You don't wanna push super, super hard. Now, one thing I'm doing is I'm focusing my energy on the major textured areas, which was mainly this spot of the headlight, but I'm also doing it to the entirety of the headlight. But you want to put more of your focus on the area that is extremely oxidized and textured. And you can really, as you're sanding, you can really hear it. Over here, you can't hear it too much. Over here, it's very, you can feel it, you can hear it, how much texture is on there. As a lot of the residue accumulates onto the headlight, you want to wipe that off of the headlight as well as the sanding disc. So taking your microfiber towel, we're going to wipe off the sanding disc, and then we're going to wipe off the headlight as well. And as you can see, this is starting to become more uniform as a headlight, and it feels much, much better. It's going to feel a lot more smooth. Now going into this again, you want to spray the water on the sanding disc and onto the headlight. You want to complete this process. This should take about 2 to 3 minutes of sanding. And another thing I want to mention is if you get into areas where you might overlap onto the paint, avoid that, okay? This area isn't too bad, so I'm really avoiding touching the paint on this, and I'm really focusing mainly in the area that has the most oxidation, which is on this side. If, in fact, you need to do this corner, take the disc off, fold it, and use it with your fingers lightly. You don't want to push really hard, but use your fingers lightly and sand that area like so. I'm done with the sanding step 1, which is the 2000 grit sandpaper. So wipe that off, take this sanding disc off. You're done with this sanding disc, okay? The other maroon sanding disc that came in this sanding kit is for the other headlight. So you're done with this one, okay? Now we're gonna take one of the 3000 grit sanding discs, which is the gray color and stated on the back. And we're gonna put this onto the handle as well. And same thing, spray the sanding disc and spray the headlight. And do the same exact process, you're just doing the gray instead of the maroon now. Oh man, it feels so much more smooth. This is great. And this is really taking the texture off of the headlight, the textured oxidation, and it's restoring the clarity of the lens as well. Okay, so we're done with sanding, and now you wipe this off as thoroughly as possible. Okay, you're gonna set the sanding disc aside. Now, the next step, which is the third step in the Pro Kit, is the Graphene Ceramic Protection. Okay, this third step is what's gonna really get the clarity of your headlight on here, and it's gonna put protection on here for the lifetime of the headlight. Okay, now before you crack this open and you start putting it on here, you wanna make sure that this is completely dry. The moisture or the water is gonna reduce the effectiveness and the longevity of the graphene protection. If you wanna expedite the process of getting the water out here, take out your air cannon or your master blaster and blow the water out of all the nooks and crannies to make sure this has no water or moisture on the surface. Okay, now it's time to break open the Graphene Ceramic Protection Wipe, and we're gonna apply this to the headlight. So, tearing the bag open, and this is a pre-saturated wipe. Setting the packaging aside, we're gonna take the wipe, we're not gonna unfold this, we're gonna leave it as is, and we're gonna apply the Graphene Ceramic Protection to the wipe, and you will see the clarity come back perfect. The graphene ceramic fills in all the gaps, restoring the clarity of the headlight. And also what it's doing is it's protecting the headlight with the robust graphene protection that will keep the clarity of the headlight for a long, long time. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I go in the horizontal lines the same way that I was sanding to fill in all of those gaps. Fill in all of that area, keeping the clarity, making the clarity look amazing. Okay, so we have half of a restored headlight here. Now, one thing I want to mention is after you put the graphene ceramic coating on here, do not take a towel and wipe this off. This is an apply and leave. It is a self-leveling graphene ceramic coating. If you wipe this off, it can turn hazy again. So please, leave the graphene ceramic coating on there and do not touch it. Now let this sit for at least an hour. The graphene ceramic will feel tacky and begin to cure, and you can feel it get really tacky within 15 to 30 minutes. And after an hour, it is fully cured. I tend to recommend that if you put this graphene ceramic coating on here during the afternoon or the evening, if you let it sit overnight, it just ensures that it will allow it to cure and not be exposed to rain or water, which can degrade the coating or ruin the graphene ceramic coating that is on the headlight. Okay, so with a few simple steps, we took this headlight from being super foggy and nasty, and we restored the clarity, we removed some of the color issues, and it looks amazing on this top half here. Now, one thing I want to talk about is managing expectations, okay? If you have a headlight that is really far gone, you might only be able to get that to maybe 85, 90%. And a lot of maybe the haziness that you can see on headlights comes from the inside. If you want this to be a perfectly brand new headlight, buy a new headlight. You know, this is something that we're really trying to restore the clarity as much as we can, so the light shines through seamlessly, allowing better visibility at night, giving safer driving. Now, if you're dealing with headlights that haven't gotten this bad, or maybe they're just starting to discolor on the top with yellow from oxidation, but aren't this hazy or don't have that texture on there, you can resort to the non-pro graphene ceramic headlight restoration kit. This is really going to take headlights that are moderately hazy, a little bit discolored, and it's going to restore them to that brand new look and again protect them for the lifetime of the headlight. So if you're interested in this kit, go check this kit out, and we have a video on there that's going to show you exactly step by step how to use this kit as well. If you have any questions or comments about the graphene ceramic headlight restoration kit, contact us at 866-965-0400 or email us at orders@adamspolishes.com. I know you guys will enjoy this headlight, and it's going to be something that will protect your headlights for years and years to come.